Welcome to Airborne Flight Training. Coming up on this week's episode, Women in Aviation offering scholarships for leadership conference. First class of United GA pilots graduates from Arizona facility. National Flight Training Association founded. And I'm your host, Holland Lee. Let's get into today's stories. Women in Aviation offering scholarships for leadership conference. Rising women leaders in the aviation and aerospace industry are encouraged to apply to attend Women in Leadership, a program for emerging leaders, a 3-day professional development program hosted by Women in Aviation International and instruction by Harvard University's Division of Continuing Education. This course will take place on Harvard's Cambridge, Massachusetts campus. The program is ideal for high-performing WAI female members who have 5 to 10 years of experience and the interest to advance their careers in leadership roles in the aviation and aerospace industry. A maximum of 30 women will be chosen to receive funding support that will include program fees, hotel, meals, and a stipend for airfare. WAI's goal is to help high-potential managers master core business concepts, build key leadership skills, and explore and develop their personal leadership style. 2 days will be conducted on campus, with a third day of learning augmenting on-campus learning with a remote leadership coaching session. After the completion of the in-person course, Harvard faculty members will meet remotely with participants to discuss how they have applied their newfound skills. Participants will earn a special certificate awarded by Harvard University's Division of Continuing Education to add to their professional resumes. And after the break, government contractor adds Selma, Alabama facility.
Throughout the globe, Piper Aircraft has hand-selected the very best in company representation, service, and support. From first inquiry to acquisition to product support, Piper Aircraft ownership is seamless and worry-free. Piper Aircraft authorized dealers, factory trained, factory connected.
Well, hello, fellow pilot. I'm John King.
And I'm Martha King.
You know, we've all had our flying lives disrupted lately.
Well, King Schools is here to help you stay up to date with courses that you can access on your desktop, iPad, or iPhone. If you'd like a refresher or just want to expand your aviation horizons, we have a course for you.
So head over to kingschools.com/rusty today for details.
Welcome back. Now let's take a trip around the patch for some other interesting stories. Government contractor adds Selma, Alabama facility. Aviation International announced the start of a new training academy in Selma, Alabama. Aviation's work involves the usual breadth of general aviation services, which will be carried on by its new facility over the next decade. The company will provide flight training, maintenance, and support to government, commercial, and general aviation customers. Current contracts include support for the AH-64E Apache, USDA survey missions, and a range of Part 145 repair services. U.S. Navy awards Textron multi-engine trainer contract. The U.S. Navy has awarded Textron a single firm fixed-price contract to develop the T-54A multi-engine training system aircraft. Subject airplane will provide advanced instrument and multi-engine training to student naval aviators selected for multi-engine aircraft operations. The base $113.1 million contract is for 10 aircraft. The contract's total value, including options, is $677.2 million for the procurement of up to 64 aircraft, with deliveries to commence in 2024 and continue through 2026. JetBlue pilots nail 2-year contract extension. JetBlue Airways have approved a 2-year contract extension after months of negotiations. The group, represented by the Airline Pilots Association, overwhelmingly approved the extension, gaining them a compensation increase of 21.5% over 18 months. The deal will include a number of smaller monetary improvements. Ultimately, 95% of eligible pilots participated, with 75% voting in favor of ratifying the tentative agreement reached in December. FAA's ECG policy sees reform. FAA standards on electrocardiogram findings are changing as part of a, quote, pattern of positive reform, end quote. The change will help to minimize the hassles and diagnostics required for those with abnormal but asymptomatic and acasual ECG readings for medical applicants. The change should decrease the chances of an undue medical deferral. Class 2 and 3 medical holders are not subject to routine ECG testing, but a similar change was implemented for heart arrhythmias. Well, that's it for today's trip around the patch. Let's get back to the rest of the news. First class of United GA pilots graduates from Arizona facility. United announced the graduation of its first group of Zero to Hero ab initio pilots from their United Aviate Academy. The class is the first to come from the Goodyear, Arizona location after United took over the training accommodations that served as Lufthansa's old stomping grounds. The graduating class of 51 students will be the first bolus towards what United hopes will be an eventual but optimistic total of 5,000 by decade's end. Growth at United has continued unabated, with expansions to its training facilities for cabin crew and fleet buys on a scale never before seen. Its plans saw the hiring of 2,400 pilots in 2022, with another 2,500 on deck for hire throughout 2023. United hopes to have at least 10,000 pilots by the end of the decade, progressing beyond its current status as the largest carrier across, quote, both the Pacific and Atlantic, end quote. United CEO Scott Kirby and COO Toby Enqvist spoke to the first class of graduates at a ceremony at the Phoenix Goodyear Airport, boosting their spirits as they stare down the timeline of 1,500 hours worth of instructing at the school. Not all will remain at the Aviate location, with some newly minted CFIs making their way to partnered entities. And after these messages, National Flight Training Association founded.
There's a difference between charting a steady course and pushing for the ceiling. And for nearly a century, Hartzell Propeller has been defining that difference. It's in our passion for engineering and research and our dedication to testing the limits of performance. We are built on honor. We are Hartzell Propeller.
If it looks good, it usually flies good. The Bristol series of aircraft is proof of that. Furthering their legacy of safety and efficiency, Bristol is proud to feature the Rotax 915 IS Turbo in the current lineup of aircraft. The 915 IS Turbo power plant offers more power than ever before in a light sport aircraft. Learn more about Bristol at www.sportflyingusa.com.
Welcome back. National Flight Training Association founded. Newly founded to represent and safeguard the interests of U.S. professional flight training organizations, the Washington, D.C. based National Flight Training Association seeks to provide flight schools and aviation academies a unified voice by which to speak out on aerospace industry matters and legislation pertaining to such. The organization is led by CEO Lee Collins, a former airline pilot and flight training professional. Mr. Collins is an accomplished aviator and aerospace industry veteran. Collins said, quote, "There are more than 600 FAA-termed pilot schools in the U.S., yet there's a void in the conversation when it comes to actively including these flight training academies in national discussions on crucial issues impacting aviation in the United States." With the National Flight Training Association, organizations who help train the next generation of pilots will have a seat at the table and a voice in Washington. The ongoing pilot shortage has made it clear that the aviation industry, which is critical to the U.S. economy, is in a fragile state and needs direction from a variety of stakeholders, including flight training organizations of all sizes. Legislation that impacts the flight training industry must be informed in part by that industry to fully understand its ramifications, end quote. And that's our show for today. You can catch episodes of Airborne on YouTube, Roku, or Fire TV. Just search for Aero-News or Airborne. And don't forget to follow us on social media. Thanks for watching.